Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Holly Berube. I am a relationship coach for strong, successful warrior women who feel like they can't quite be themselves in their relationships and instead want to be able to express themselves with ease, clearly, openly, and completely authentically with their partner and in their non-romantic relationships too. If you're new here, thank you so much for hitting this like button. If any part of today's message resonates for you, going ahead and clicking on subscribe and ringing that notification bell so that you can be in touch with me whenever new content comes out. Today, what I wanted to talk with you about is 10 signs that you can tell that the person that you are in a relationship with may not be emotionally available. These are 10 signs that they are emotionally unavailable in this situation. So I'd love to hear from you today in the comment below if any of these 10 are hitting home for you, or maybe you have the blessing of being in a great relationship right now and you're noticing, oh my goodness, my partner is killing it and they're not hitting any of these strikes at all, which is great. So let's just go right ahead because there are so many that I want to talk about. The very first sign that the person that you are in a relationship with is emotionally unavailable is they deflect when asked very serious questions. So for example, let's say you're getting to know somebody, or maybe you're in a relatively new relationship, 3 months, 6 months, etc., and you're talking about the seriousness of this partnership. You might ask a question of them like, how do you handle your finances? Or maybe you ask them, hey, where do you stand with having kids, right? And so perhaps instead of them answering, they'll laugh and say, oh, are we going there now? Oh, I don't think we want to talk about that. And every once in a while, I think that discomfort shows up in these conversations and people will squirm and they might not know the answer or might not be ready to talk about that answer. But if this is a pattern that you're noticing over and over again, that this person will not answer your serious questions, they deflect by maybe asking you something back, or they will just put it off till later. I don't want to talk about that right now. I've had a long day. Then it could be a sign that the person that you are currently with is emotionally unavailable. Sign number 2, that you may be dating or with somebody who is emotionally unavailable. When they answer these serious questions, they aren't using feeling words. Feeling words. So if you think about emotions and feelings, these are things like, well, I feel excited about it. I feel happy about it. I feel optimistic about it. I feel hopeful about it. I feel pretty bad. I feel pretty shitty. Whatever it is, those are examples of talking about how a person feels or emotes. Now, might it always include the word feel? No, it might not. But sometimes what you might be hearing instead, if this person is not in tune with their emotions and their feelings, therefore emotionally unavailable perhaps, is they will often answer these really serious questions saying things like, well, I think it's about this. I think it's about that. So that's something to be on the lookout for, all right? A person who is emotionally available is going to talk with you about how they feel about something, not only what they think about. And both are important. I want to know what someone's thinking. I'm sure you do too. Sign number 3 that you might be with or dating somebody who is emotionally unavailable. They gaslight you. They gaslight you. So first way to know that you potentially could be being gaslit is you bring something up with the person you're in a relationship with or that you're dating, and they tell you that didn't happen. I didn't say that. And I think at first it can seem very innocent because you can chalk it up to say, okay, well, there was a misunderstanding. But what gaslighting is, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, gaslighting means that the person did or said something to you, and then when you bring up a concern about their action or a concern about something that they said or a behavior that they exhibited, they say, I didn't do that. And I'm not just talking about misinterpretation. I'm saying, for example, you're having a conversation about the finances of the home, and the person that you're in a relationship with says something to you at the dinner table that's just like, oh, we can't afford anything over $1,000. So don't even think about talking about that right now because we just can't do it. And then what might happen is like within a month or so, they're bringing home purchase that is over $1,000, and you bring it up and say, hey, I remember you said we can't afford anything over $1,000 right now. We should have had a conversation about this, or I would have liked to have a conversation about this. And they say something like, I never said that. I never said that. So it's a form of denial, but I know I'm really doing it injustice right now. Essentially, it's somebody proclaiming that you're crazy and you're just hearing things. And that's not the case. You likely did hear them correctly. They're just not going to admit it because they're emotionally unavailable and they don't want to put all their cards on the table. People who are emotionally available will be willing to put their cards on the table in time and won't backtrack and tell you that you're psycho or crazy. Sign number 4 that you might be with somebody or dating somebody that is emotionally unavailable is that they don't follow through on their words with their actions. So these are people that are all talk and no action. These are people who say things like, I care about you, I'll always have your back. And then when something happens, they don't. Or they say they're going to do something for you, support you in some kind of way, run an errand for you, I don't know, big stuff, little stuff, and they don't follow through on it. And I think one of the ways that this shows up sometimes for my clients is, you can have somebody that says, I want to be in this with you. I want to go through this with you. And then, a month later, there's a fight and the two of you are breaking up or something of that nature. So remember that the actions have more weight than words do. And sometimes, especially if we're in a relationship that's going through a rocky period, or maybe dating somebody new, or maybe you're reflecting back on your previous relationships and trying to figure out where things may have went wrong, notice if you were putting more emphasis on the things that they were saying and less emphasis on the things that they were doing that followed through on those words, that were examples of those words in action. So that's really important. Sign number 5, that you might be dating somebody or with somebody that is emotionally unavailable. They don't consider your needs. They don't consider your needs. And considering your needs could be anything from asking you, what is it that you want? What is it that you would like? What is it that you need? But more so, it's them not asking you what you want. However, they will still magically handle their own things. Right? So especially if you are in a partnership where you are spending a lot of time together, or you are in a teamwork situation. So maybe you two live together, maybe you two are co-parenting together. Those sorts of situations really require that both persons get to have their needs met. And if you find that your partner or the person you are dating is consistently handling his or her needs and not asking you about yours very often, it could be a sign that they are emotionally unavailable. They're just not tuned in to what you want because they're very caught up in what they need and what they want. So that could be a potential sign. Sign number 6 that you might be dating or with somebody who is emotionally unavailable. They're inconsistent. They are inconsistent. Probably one of my all-time favorites. They are inconsistent, meaning that they make a plan with you and then they flake out on you. Oh, I forgot. Oh, things got really busy. They bail on you. Now, listen, there's a difference between flaking out on somebody and needing to reschedule. Life happens. Things come up. So a person who suddenly has to change the plan, but they're giving you an alternative plan, an alternative time and day. Hey, we were going to spend time together today, but I can't do it the way that we talked about it, but I can do it that's a good sign. That's a sign that this person is emotionally available, that they are taking your partnership seriously. But a person who says that they're going to do something and they consistently do not follow through, and the biggest sign for you in that moment is if you're with somebody like this, is you could be experiencing anxiety because there's a lack of emotional safety there with this person because you're not really sure which version you're going to get that day. So inconsistency, that's another sign that you might be with somebody or dating somebody who's emotionally unavailable. Number 7, that you might be dating with someone who emotionally is unavailable is they minimize your feelings. This could show up either by you telling them how you feel about something and they say that you're overreacting, or they say that it's irrational for you to feel that way, or that you're too emotional. It could be invalidating your feelings when you share your feelings in that way. The other more subtle way it could be showing up is they could be invalidating your feelings because they're not listening to what you're saying, but as soon as you're done sharing, they immediately go to how to fix it, and not fix the problem, but fix you. There's like this insatiable desire that they need to fix you, or let's put this a more extreme way that might be more obvious. They are in savior mode. Like they want to save the day. They want to be the one that makes everything better, that takes the credit for shifting your mood from what it was to what it could be, from a more negative situation to a more positive situation. So if you're with somebody who is actively in, I want to save you, I want to rescue you all the time, and you're just not feeling like they're getting you or really taking your feelings into consideration, it could be a sign that they're emotionally unavailable. Number 8, they might be emotionally unavailable if they don't reciprocate deep, intimate sharing from you. So let's say the two of you are having a deeper conversation. You're talking about something really personal. Maybe it's something that emotionally wounded you when you were a kid. Maybe it was something really scary that happened in your family or with your parents or on the job or with your physical safety. And you're sharing something very open-hearted with them. And after you're done sharing that with them, they don't reciprocate something that is equally intimate. And not to say that you have to open up your heart and they need to open their heart up and share a story right back in that moment. But again, if this is a pattern that goes on for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, years, and you feel like you are constantly opening up and saying the things, sharing the things from your life that are hard to talk about, and you don't feel like they are reciprocating that in return, it could be a sign that they are emotionally unavailable and not willing to even look at the things that are unsettling for them individually, let alone sharing it with you. Sign number 9 that you might be dating or with somebody who's emotionally unavailable is they don't honor or respect your boundaries. Now listen, when people are getting to know each other in friendships, in business, even in dating, I think boundaries is something that becomes more often discussed because of the newness of the situation or the casualness of the friendship, or you don't live with the person, right? And over time, when couples get together or they live together or they parent together, sometimes what can happen is we forget that boundaries still need to be in place. There is still a desire for both persons to maintain their individuality. And the way to do that is with boundaries. How much personal space, personal time does each person need? If they are co-parenting together or they are running a business together, how much time do they need in their personal life as opposed to their parenting life? And are the two of them honoring and respecting those desires and wishes so that each person can feel like they are whole and can show up fully for the relationship, for those children, for that business, whatever it is. So if you are with somebody and you are asking of them that you need space or you need time, or, hey, can you watch the kids for 20 minutes? And consistently your requests are denied. Or you ask for space, more importantly, and they say, yes, I will give that to you. And then they breach that boundary. That could be a sign that this person is emotionally unavailable. They do not have that capacity to notice or more so follow through on honoring their word in those situations because they're not fully understanding that your emotional safety comes from those boundaries being honored. So they're more likely to break them. And the 10th and final sign that you might be with somebody who is emotionally unavailable is they don't own their shit. And here's what I mean by that. There's a level of accountability that is required in every single relationship in the sense of I'm going to own my side of the fence and my partner is going to own his side of the fence. And accountability, the way that I'm defining it, means that if you were to take a neutral narrative of everything that happened, you could see from a neutral place the role that you played in it. Your partner could see his or her role in the situation as well. Accountability doesn't mean someone has to be at fault. And so knowing that a relationship is two persons joining into one teamwork or partnership, what ultimately happens is each person is responsible for owning their own role in that conflict or in that thing that's going really well. And sometimes people, when they have emotional wounding or things that they have not worked through as an individual or healing that they need to get done so that they can be a better partner, they can be a better teammate, they can be a better business person. If an individual is not willing to own that stuff and say, you know what, I have insecurity or I have anxiety or I, have depression now and then. And I think it's so important to like own our story, own our shit, the stuff that we don't really like about ourselves the most, like fess up to it, talk about how we're working through it as an individual, let your partner in on it. And if you are with someone who says, nope, I'm great, I don't believe in that stuff, I don't need to be any healing, you're talking as if I have childhood issues or daddy issues or whatever they're calling it. If they're demeaning it or saying that that is not a part of their life, their inability and their unwillingness to own whatever their story is, that could be a sign that they are emotionally unavailable. Which one of these, if anything, have you experienced from your partner in previous years, or maybe even now, or a recent ex? Maybe not calling out your current person in the comments, but I really want to hear your input on this. Did I miss anything? Is there an 11th, a 12th, a 13th sign that this person could be emotionally unavailable? Drop me a comment below, let me know. And again, if any part of today's video resonated for you, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps in getting more viewership to my channel. If there's anything you'd love to hear more from me about in terms of relationships and mindfulness, again, drop me a comment below. Thank you so much for subscribing so that you'd never miss a video with me and a relationship tip and support again. And until next time, love always in always.